Incarnon weapons came in as sort of an evolution of kit guns to let us change things on the fly. But then balance happened, and one option is better than the other two combined, so we don't ever need to change anything on the fly. Fenmore is by all means a very good weapon, and probably one of the best assault rifles in the game. Good damage, good fire rate, no reload in Incarnon mode, status potential is very high. But as much as I try to avoid using that word, you should not build it for criticals. Of course, when talking about devouring attrition and its 50% chance to add 2000% multiplicative bonus damage to non-critical hits, other two options on 5th evolution are not even close. In fact, this one would probably still win even if it wasn't multiplicative. So build goes as follows: Violent Heat with all the 60/60 mods, Galvanized Diffusion and Vigilante armaments are all the multi-shot we can get to maximize status gain for Galvanized Aptitude. Fire rate because Incarnon form uses no ammo, and Slash because weapon is pretty good at it. Primary Deadhead as an arcane, and Stabilizer in the Exilus slot level that recoil to 0. For evolutions, you already know what's my 5th and my 4th with it, sacrificing critical hits to get that multiplicative bonus running. Since 3rd evolution only affects untransformed Fenmore, it's whatever. I have reload on headshot kill because I do feel like reload is kinda long on untransformed Fenmore. For 2nd evolution, I feel like there's a choice between fire rate and projectile flight speed. But for me it's the latter, because Vial Acceleration already gives a lot of fire rate, but projectiles are super slow, and even 10-meter distance becomes a range at which you need to seriously lead the target. And that, without any buffs on the side, is what you see on the screen. Just brah towards any enemy and they will melt. Another sweet thing about this is that Incarnon form has extra radiation in it, making it juicy for Galvanized Aptitude. And that's kinda the point of the weapon, to get those 12 headshots ASAP and run that Incarnon form as much as you can, as well as using the weapon as sort of a burst weapon, as fire rate dips down after you hold your mouse even for a little bit. But what's disappointing is that there's almost no choice with evolutions. That's by far the best combo for this weapon. The added option to change it on the fly, but made it so that you should never change it. Kinda weird. For showcase, I wanna show a critical build that I tried. Lingering Judgment gives 50% extra headshot damage. And that did create a question mark for me because of recent changes of increasing headshot multiplier from 2x to 3x. With plus 30% from Deadhead, and making use of weapons crit multiplier, it didn't sound all that bad, especially because Hunter Munitions is such a strong mod. And I went with this build to compare it, and it feels like I've taken 3 mods out of my previous build and didn't replace them with anything. There's such chasm between these evolutions and their respective builds that one would even doubt it's the same weapon. I thought that getting criticals with that high headshot multiplier will yield something, even situational. Even tried going to orange crits with Arcane Avenger and Adarza Kavat. It still performed obviously worse. That attempt was in part inspired by the regular build of Fenmore suffering quite significantly if your squad mates happen to level up your criticals in any way. But it ain't worth it. Not even close. Even if it was on par, it heavily relies on consistent headshots. While Devouring Attrition works with any hits, and if you happen to hit a headshot, that's just a nice bonus. I would like to see more options for this weapon to become viable. I feel like just making base critical damage multipliers significantly higher would help a lot and bring builds closer to each other. But it has to go over 3x, if not 4x. While I wish there was a viability for critical build, I still have to say the status build is insanely strong. Best way I'd describe it is that it feels like Supra Vandal on steroids, and it's definitely an S tier weapon, and it's worth trying out. Build as shown, the actual build, not the critical mess, does have space for few variations, and it's Slash, Vigilante armaments, and fire rate mods that can lose a spot depending on what you bring. Like, if your frame has fire rate buff and you're running an endurance build, then Bane mod would help a lot. Incarnon form has innate punch through of 4 meters, so I did not go with Shred, but it's not a bad idea to get that extra bit, especially with Prime Shred. Exilus mod is also something that it's in contention, because if you use the evolution to increase your fire rate, then you definitely have to go with terminal velocity to increase the projectile flight speed. There's zero need for ammo conversion. And that's about it for this one. Thank you for watching, subscribe for more, and I'll see you in the next one.